Hey, I'm Dirty Dan and welcome back to Greasy Boy Customs. Today, we're back on the 31 Ford and we're going to be talking about engines. Right here. Engines, transmissions. We're going to be getting them in, showing you what it looks like. Let's check it out. When our customer was deciding on a drivetrain, he specifically requested a 383 stroker. So, of course, we said yes. We looked this one up and found this one from Blueprint. This one is a 383 stroker, complete from air cleaner to the bottom. It's got everything except your accessories on the front and obviously your exhaust manifolds. It does come with the water pump and with the harmonic balancer, so that's great. Those are already on there and ready to go. It's a really nice looking setup. It should definitely melt the tires off the back of this thing. Now, when it came to a transmission, we opted for an overdrive unit. Now, a 3-speed would have been just fine in here. It really would have. With the proper rear end gear ratio and rear tire size, you can get this to where it runs RPMs that are sustainable at most speeds. However, we want to be able to hop in this thing and go anywhere with it, including on the highway, and get down and boogie and drive it kind of like a daily driver. So we opted for the overdrive. Now, we had this 700R4 out of a different vehicle, and we decided to take this one and we're going to go ahead and get it rebuilt, and then it'll be set up for this truck. Now, for now, mock-up stages, we're simply going to use the transmission as it is, bolt it to the engine, and get everything fit and in place and make sure that all of our clearances are going to work and that all of our mounts are going to work. Some clearancing needs to be done. I'm going to follow this factory bead line, but I'm going to come in about 3/4 of an inch and I'm going to just cut this whole center out. We're going to have to do it anyway for the transmission, and I'll just make a new section of the firewall. And if we have to cut too much out, just make a new firewall. We're going to go ahead and get this transmission jacked up into place, put 1 or 2 bolts in it to hold it to the engine. There's not a torque converter in here. There's not a flex plate on the engine. We're just trying to get dimensions going here and see what we're going to have to cut and not cut and so on and so forth and what have you. But we're going to go ahead and get this started. Now that we got our trans bolted up, we'll go ahead and work on this cross member. One thing they did on this cross member I'm not really a fan of is the fact that your bolts go all the way through the frame. I think having some that threaded in, the threaded insert would have been really nice. However, with that being said, with it going through the frame, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So if there's any imperfections in the measurements, you can take that and move it around a little bit accordingly. This doesn't line up for crap. I'm going to have to make a new mount and cross member, I think, and that really sucks. Oh, Jesus. Man. Well, I'm assuming this cross member was not for a 700R4. I honestly didn't know what it was for. I was just hoping it would work for our application. Unfortunately, it's a little off, so we're going to have to modify. Now, we can either make a whole new cross member, which is probably unnecessary, or we can just take this one and we can cut it, roll it back a little bit, and then redo our tab. That's probably what we'll do. That'd be smart. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. We made some marks here. We're going to cut the ends here. We're going to cut this mount off. We're going to try to reuse this and see if we can make it look nice. If not, we're just going to build a new one from scratch. Bam! Look at that. Looks just like the original one would have. We literally just had to roll it back a little bit and move the tab forward a little bit, and it worked. We've got our engine set, you know, our front to back tilt kind of close. So we just have it zeroed out on the carburetor mounting surface right now. That's going to change. The reason it's going to change is these are just roll around mock-up tires. These are not the final tires. So we don't know exactly where it's going to be. So we've allowed some room to move the transmission up and down in the back so that we can set our angles correctly once we have it at proper ride height with the proper wheels and tires. An ideal situation would be to have the wheels and tires that are going on it, or at least the dimensions of the tires so you could set it at the proper height. Stop. Let's talk about brakes. Here's our brake pedal. Now, you'll see a cool little rod on the frame. There's a bushing in here. Brass or bronze or whatever it is. Real easy. Just slides on. Now there is a threaded portion here. I don't know where the nut is and the washer that go on here. I also don't know if there's supposed to be a spacer in between the pedal and the frame. I feel like there should be. I don't see one in the parts, but either way, that's going to go on like that. Your master cylinder is going to bolt here, whether you're running a power booster or not. Now in our case, we are not running a power booster, but your master cylinder is going to bolt up just like so. You're going to connect the master cylinder to the pedal with these simple parts here. This adjustable rod and clevis. The rod end is going to go inside the master cylinder, and obviously the clevis is going to hook to the pedal. Now, this rod is also going to determine, if I can get it on there, there we go, is also going to determine the depth. As you turn this rod in and out of this clevis, it's going to change your pedal position. Now, once you bleed your brakes, put everything back together, you're going to have to go in and fine tune that. You may find, you know, in certain applications that you want it to be up further than it can be or down further than it can be. And you may have to cut or adjust or make a new rod. It's not a big deal, but you're going to have to make sure that it doesn't hit anything, like the transmission. We're not hitting anything, so that's good. We're going to have to keep that in mind when we're doing our floor. You may be looking at this saying, Dan, why are you wasting your time putting all these brake components on? They're already made to fit. The lines are already pre-bent. Why would you do that? Well, because shit happens. Not everything's perfect. It's a good, smart idea to double check everything before you continue so you're not doing these things later. This is how we do them. We put them together, we blow them apart, we put them back together. That's how it works most of the time. These brake lines are pre-bent. These are just steel lines. Pretty cool. Nice, neat. I do like the fact that they're pre-bent. Hopefully they fit. I don't know where they go. We're going to have to look it up or figure it out. We'll work on that. Also comes with stainless braided lines that go to your calipers and wheel cylinders, which that's a great option. Proportioning valve. This has a single inlet and outlet. Typically that's going to go on the rear brakes if it's just a single in and a single out. You also have these pass-throughs. These are designed to bolt through the holes in the frame. I'll show you one of those. And you put your brake line feeding in, and then you have this end going to your stainless braided line that goes to your wheel end. Nice clean look. Lines are not over and under the frame. Definitely a good way to go. It even came with mounting clips and all kinds of other stuff. Let's figure out where the brake lines go and see how this goes. And go. I'm not going to install all these, but I just want to show you the clamps. The holes are already threaded. It's an Allen, and let's see if how well they're threaded, or if they're actually threaded. Maybe they're not. Oh, of course, out of the bag, I grabbed the only bent bolt. Jesus, why me? Every time. All right, take two. Let's try that again. Oh, hey, look, that one actually screws in. It's magical. Let's see, we're getting the line clamped on there. And turn, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Bam. There you go. That is really nice. It looks good. It fits good. It's not moving. I also want to compliment whoever bent these brake lines. Look at how nice those bends are. Very clean. It took me a little while to figure out some of this. So for those of you who don't know, these master cylinders have ports on this side and this side. So the front line goes to the port on the side of the frame rail. The rear line goes to the port inboard. So, it took me a while to figure it out, but it worked. There's our proportioning valve. See, it mounts on the frame, hangs down, comes with the bolts and spacers. Again, all the lines are pretty bent. The only thing we're missing is a residual valve for the front disc brakes. That is not here. Again, front lines fit, beautiful, nice, beautiful bends. So whoever you are that bent these brake lines, bravo, good job, fantastic. There was one flare that was a little boogered, but aside from that, these were perfect. Good job. So we got the brakes plumbed. We've got the engine and transmission in. We've got the suspension and steering in place. What else do we need to do? One thing we need to do is we need to cut out this firewall because, let me show you. Because part of the engine is inside the truck. You can see the distributor is about 4 inches back from the firewall. Now they do make a firewall that is already cut out, a little panel you just weld in, and they also sell a whole firewall that's already notched out for a Chevy engine. But what's the fun in that? We're going to make our own. I don't know if it's going to be any cooler, but it's going to be ours, and it's going to make our customer's vehicle just a little more unique with really not that much more effort. So we have marked it out where we're going to cut, and we're going to do a big cut. We are cutting right underneath the brace mounts. Then we're going to curve, and we're going to go straight down. So nothing fancy here. It's just flat sheet metal. Put a couple cool bead rolls in it to make it look cool. And we've got it to where it clears the distributor. And you have enough room to take the cap off and remove the distributor if you need to, which is very important. You don't want to have to, but it's nice to be able to. So very important. Now, we've got that just kind of flushed in there. Another thing I want to touch on, remember right there, there was that teardrop recess. That was only on the late 31 models from what I understand. My Roadster had the same one. We're going to have to do another filler panel for that, and we're going to be building the floors from scratch. So that leads me to the next video. In the next video, we're going to be getting some of these sheet metal parts on here. We're going to be getting things like the doors. Well, there's already one door kind of hung on there. It's just there, just for now. We're going to be working on the metal panels on the back and building our floor and our transmission tunnel, things of that nature. So be sure to tune in. And if you have any questions about what we did or the products we used, please feel free to message us at greasyboycustoms@gmail.com or hit it up in the comments. We'll try our best to respond and give you an answer. Until next time, happy hot rodding.